you are looking to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to have a mentor in your life, have a right system in place, your environment, as I've mentioned. Yes, our ability to read books relating to the area which we're focused on helps, but what makes the journey more easier is the ability to learn from people who already walking the path or people who have walked the path, either listening to podcasts, watching videos, attending sessions, training sessions from entrepreneurs. The environment itself, learning from out-and experience of people. So entrepreneurship is not a game of luck. The ability to be consistent, the ability to do over and over and over again is what gets you the luck. It's not just about trying and getting lucky. It's a game at the end of the day, a game of purpose, a game of growth, but your ability to be able to stay longer in the game doing. So I think most people are always afraid of change. Even myself, I'm always afraid of change, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to pursue the change. When something new comes, maybe in the system, in the marketplace, it depends, depending on which angle, if it's towards my business or maybe want to implement new things. Firstly, I need to focus on what will this give to me, because if the change is actually coming, it means it's good.
There's a lot of misconceptions about entrepreneurship, but I'd like to hear from you in your own words. What is entrepreneurship?
Thank you very much, Miss Marian. For me, entrepreneurship is a lot of things. Entrepreneurship, it's more of a contribution sense to the society. It's more about taking risk, of course, calculated risk. It's also more about adding value and creating value. For one to be an entrepreneur, one has to have a long-term vision. Entrepreneurship, it's all about self-discipline. It's all about responsibility. So that is my understanding about entrepreneurship, Miss Mary.
All right. And you've mentioned about risks, adding value, and responsibility. What kind of risk appetite should one have when getting into entrepreneurship, and how can they protect themselves?
When we are talking about type of risk which one has to have, firstly, what will be your guiding force is more of your vision. And in that space of taking risk, it's not just about us taking a higher risk. Entrepreneurship is not just about taking huge risk. It's more about taking a calculated risk with adequate knowledge and information. When you have information at hand, then it is easier for you to take risks rather than not having any information or having a misconception of information. So it's all about the decision which you make alongside the information which you have. Give the result of the risk which you're going to be taking. So it's all about consistent doing, consistent showing up when you are taking risk, because you know where it's going to get you at the end of the day.
Earlier, you had mentioned about the concept of responsibility. I've always felt confused about this concept. As an entrepreneur, should you be responsible for the entire business, or should you be able to delegate some things to people that you've brought in the business, your employees, experts, and all that? Or is it just your own responsibility to make sure that everything is working?
Entrepreneurship is not about management. It's more about delegation, where you are able to delegate tasks and allowing it, give room for people to grow. It's not just about it. Yes, you need to take that responsibility. You need to take ownership of it. But when you're able to give that space of people to grow, assign responsibility, it allows you to build leaders. It allows you to see different version of people, and of course ideas get to come in, and that is how the business or entrepreneurship grow at large when we are talking about the concept of entrepreneurship. So it's not just about we taking the whole aspect of being an entrepreneur, doing the work, doing this and that, but it's more about your ability to be able to delegate tasks to the people around you that are also in that space of the business or being an entrepreneur.
Perfect. And on the issue of delegation, first, before I even go to delegation, I've always heard people talking about entrepreneurship and how hard it is. Is it as hard as people talk about or make it to look like? Like it's struggle, hardship, hustle? Do we have entrepreneurs that are thriving and they're happy? If they're there, what are they doing differently from the ones that are hustling, struggling, saying entrepreneurship is not for the weak? What differentiates these groups of people if they indeed exist?
All right. So a lot differentiates. Entrepreneurship is not about hard work. It's more about working smart. It's more about working smart. And your ability to be able to be persistent enough, learn, keep learning and growing as a person, your ability to learn from your mistake, ability to accept correction, ability to be able to follow the system over and over, eventually give you the results. But when you are in that space of you being an entrepreneur and you are doing something today, you focus on another thing tomorrow. You come back to it the next day, you focus on another thing tomorrow. Then eventually you will say that this is not giving results. This is hard. But our ability to be consistent enough, to be persistent enough, and of course, learning from our mistake, learning from other people's mistake, having a mentor gives that takeaway when we are talking about what differentiates people who are successful in entrepreneurship. So yes, there are lots of people who have succeeded in entrepreneurship, and 5% of when we are looking at the world population in terms of the wealth, who control the wealth? Entrepreneurs. So yes, there are a lot of entrepreneurs who have succeeded. It's just about having a system in place, having the right guidance, observing from your mistake, understanding the process, and being consistent and persistent. And of course, having that patient level as well.
Patience. Talking about patience, how much patience is needed for you as an entrepreneur? And I'm talking about, you mentioned an entrepreneur needs to be consistent. They need to be able to learn from their mistakes. So ideally, I've always thought that as an entrepreneur, or rather what I have seen, entrepreneurs are very passionate people. They're passionate about adding value to a specific community or a project. And then after a while, they fizzle out. So is it their passion that fizzles out, or are they just not able to be consistent? So in between the passion and fizzling out, I believe it's patience. How much patience is needed for entrepreneurs, and how can they maintain the patience until they get to a point when they're actually successful?
Firstly, one has to have a long-term vision. People think entrepreneurship is just about getting into it and making quick money. But one has to be a long-term thinker. And for you to be a long-term thinker as an entrepreneur, which means it requires you to be very patient. You need to be someone that is ready to accept failures, not run away from it. Accept failures, learn from it, because those are the stepping stones. It is part of the journey. So when we are able to be patient enough, it's not just about sitting and waiting patiently without doing nothing. You have to do something. Whatever activities or whatever thing you're doing in the space or area of focus in entrepreneurship, you need to be consistent at it. So lots of patience is required, but not you patiently waiting for something to happen. entrepreneurs chase, they follow their dream, but the main guiding force is their belief system. You as an individual who is looking to get into entrepreneurship have to firstly believe in yourself. What are you passionate about? It's not just about entrepreneurship, it's being a vehicle for money, but you have to have that driving force. You need to see yourself as an individual that really believe that you can achieve what you're pursuing for yourself. And if you do, there will be ups and downs. It's not going to be a smooth road, definitely, but your ability to be persistent enough and be patient gets you through the whole road. So it's a process of adding more value when we are able to focus more on what am I going to be giving to others rather than what am I going to be getting at the end of the process. It's what makes the journey more impactful. So it is a continuous process. So depending on when you want to quit, but when we are focusing more on the value we are adding to the society, it makes the ride amazing. But if one is focusing more on the money, yes, money is just a byproduct of entrepreneurship. But most people just focus on that space and forget about the other factors that surround it.
Let me take you back to the issue of patience. For entrepreneurs, as I had said earlier, it's passion, and you've advised that they need to wait patiently as they toil or they go towards the goal, the long-term vision that they have. But now, as an entrepreneur, they need to eat. They have bills, they need to eat, they need to take care of their families and all these expenses coming to them. So how would you say they should balance the passion they have to contribute to the world, the patience before the reward gets here, and their need to actually have money to eat? How should they play this game so that they can still contribute to the community but still live comfortably, or at least have a decent life?
This is quite an interesting question, which I want to relate to one of my story in the beginning. When I started my journey in entrepreneurship, firstly, I have my guiding compass, which is why I want to be an entrepreneur. But yes, I need to also balance that state of ability to provide for myself and the family, and also the aspect of my continuous belief in myself and the journey, the patient level. What I did at that point in time, while I am walking the journey, following the path, following the process, in that space, I was also able to focus regardless. Even when the result wasn't coming, I was focused on myself, focused on the path. And also the people I have around me. Your environment is something that really matters a lot, that really contributes to your growth in entrepreneurship. People whom you surround yourself with. Are they people who are talking you down on the path you're walking, or they are the one who are always supporting you? So I believe when we have that right environment of people, they also contribute to the space of having that sense of balance. Because definitely life will always come with its own challenges. We need to feed, we need to take care of responsibility at hand. But when you have good people around you, while you're still believing in yourself, while you're still walking that path and still saying, I see the road, eventually it will come. The environment itself also have that space of support. So when we are able to have people around us who are supportive of what we do, even when the journey is challenging, that's what gets you eventually to where you're heading.
Noticing something, you said believe in yourself like 2 times. So I'm noticing for successful entrepreneurs, they actually need to believe in themselves. And you also said that you should also focus on yourself. In your view, is the entrepreneur supposed to evolve as a person away from the entrepreneurship journey that they are taking for them as themselves? Number one, I think I'm alluding from what you've said, they actually need to increase the belief they have in themselves. But do they need to evolve, or they only just need to increase the belief they have in themselves?
Hmm. One of the quotes which I do say is you can't become the same person if you are, looking to achieve a lot for yourself. If you're thinking you as an individual, this is who you are at this point, and you're looking to achieve a great success for yourself, you need to still remain that same person. Then you're deceiving yourself. One has to allow oneself to evolve as a person. There are personal self tools which one can use on oneself. One has to spend more time with yourself when we are talking about evolving. Yes, you need to have that belief. We have people that believe in themselves, but eventually if the environment is not right, or they may even have the environment, but still something is missing. So what me time are you having with yourself? You need to allow yourself to keep learning, not just on the road, because your ability to allow yourself to develop yourself more eventually multiplies to the person you're becoming.
Okay, I completely, the learning concept, I completely understand, but I'll still ask you something. I know about learning because when I graduated from the university back in the day, when the chancellor gave us our capes and everything, he said, now I have given you the ability to go and learn. For me at that time, I was very confused because I was like, I've been studying all this time. You're telling me you're giving me the ability to learn. What are you talking about? Now, in retrospect, I see that the graduation was not the end of me learning. It was for me, it was like a start. Because now life, yes, you've spent 5-6 years doing your undergrad, your masters and all that, but the learning doesn't end. So I completely understand. But now, for an entrepreneur, what does learning look like? Because I've seen a lot of people that have gone to very good business schools, but when they try entrepreneurship, it doesn't work for them. So I want to narrow down on, when you say learning, what exactly is learning? And also you mentioned the environment and the company that they keep. So how do the two correlate? Because I think if the entrepreneurship is passionate about the value what they're bringing to the world, does the company even matter? If the fire is burning from them, does the company matter? And in the area of learning, what exactly should they learn? From where? From who? Over
All
to you.
Thank you, Miss Marian. So, relating to learning is, when I mean learning, of course, just as you've mentioned, we've been learning all our life. That is true. But if you are looking to be a successful entrepreneur, you need to have a mentor in your life, have a right system in place, your environment, as I've mentioned. Yes, our ability to read books relating to the area which we're focused on helps, but what makes the journey more easier is the ability to learn from people who already walking the path or people who has walked the path, either listening to podcasts, watching videos, attending sessions, training sessions from entrepreneurs. The environment itself, learning from add an experience of people. These are what contribute to that phase of learning.
All right. And I understand about the learning, about the environment. Why exactly does the environment matter for an entrepreneur? Because I've always thought if they're passionate enough, that's enough to, if they're passionate enough, and now that I've learned about them believing in themselves, if they believe in themselves and they're passionate enough, why does the environment matter in the success game?
It actually contributes highly to the journey of an entrepreneur, because when you are in that space of an environment where you are surrounded with people who are not passionate about what you you want to do. They eventually kill that vision which you have. So when you're in that environment whereby you have people who are more of a like-minded, it keeps the fire burning when it comes to what you're looking to achieve for yourself. People talk you out of it. The myth, in life when people talk about entrepreneurship is, it's risky. Don't do it. Not because it's risky or maybe their own point of view, but they tend to impose how they see things on you. Or maybe something that has happened to them. But it doesn't mean it will be the same path for you as a person. If you have the right people in place, if you have the right structure in place and environment and people who are surrounding you, then it makes the journey more easier. So it contributes highly to a journey of an entrepreneur. And we have lots of entrepreneurs who are doing something and they get to start again, then they decided to quit. But when you're surrounded with people that are more of vision-oriented like you, it always makes the journey more easier. You see yourself. You really see that journey that you're walking, not just having it in the air, but you see yourself achieving those dreams or goals.
Now, talking of vision, how do you know you have a good vision as an entrepreneur? Because in my view, and maybe for a lot of people in our audience, is there the aspect of luck? Is it that some entrepreneurs are able to stay in the game for longer because they were lucky? Or is it because their vision was very good? And if their vision was very good, what made it better than the others?
Entrepreneurship is not a game of luck. Your ability to be consistent, the ability to do over and over and over again is what gets you the luck. It's not just about trying and getting lucky. It's a game at the end of the day, a game of purpose, a game of growth. But your ability to be able to stay longer in the game doing gives you that luck. But it's through that space of your consistency, the momentum which you've been keeping, the repetition, the action gets you there. What differentiates a lucky entrepreneur from an unlucky entrepreneur is consistent, persistent, and ability to stay longer in the game. Sticking to their decision, doing the work, repetition. And that is what sets the lucky ones from the unlucky ones. It's not about coming in, going out, or doing today, not doing tomorrow. It's more about that repetitive action on a daily basis. That's what gets most people, because they are able to accept failure, that it is part of a learning curve of their journey to the success they want to achieve in entrepreneurship. But people that are unlocking in entrepreneurship, when they fail, they run out. Then they come back. You need to be someone that is ready to accept the failure, because those are the true teachers that guide you, that tell you the truth of where you need to improve on. So they accept failure as their guiding tutor or their guiding force, and also the repetition of them doing the work on a daily basis consistently, doing the boring work, sticking to their decision, making intentional decision on a daily basis to keep going, even when they are not even motivated.
Now, I need to understand. You've said that they need to put in the work consistently, which means consistent action. But where do you draw the line between suffering and consistency? Because, like I said earlier, entrepreneurship is associated with a lot of suffering, hustling, pain. At what point are you able to balance the pain or remove the suffering from entrepreneurship, or maybe enjoy the suffering? How do you correlate the suffering and consistency?
Your ability to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't love what you're doing, you see it as suffering. So when we are talking about repetitive action or repetitive work, it's not just about you focusing on the result which you want to get at the end of the day, but while you're working towards that result, are you really learning from it? What's your point of view towards it? Are you really understanding the process? Because when you keep focusing on the end goal without you allowing the process itself to help you to grow, help you to understand more about yourself, then it becomes suffering. You do things without you learning from what you do. You do the same mistake again without you learning, then it becomes suffering because you're not enjoying what you're doing.
Okay, so
So
the
your
keyword
ability
is
to focus, your
okay.
ability to focus more on you adding value to people rather than focusing on the results change the game for you.
So now, if you're to love what you do, that means it will keep you motivated for a long time. But what do you do when you're no longer feeling motivated, but the vision is still there, but the motivation is gone? You've been doing this for a while and you're just tired. How do you handle that as an entrepreneur?
When you are getting started into something, right, you're always motivated, excited, or even when you have that space of an idea, you're excited about it, but doing the work, the motivation goes down. So it's not, yes, motivation is needed in the beginning of the journey, but your ability to build that habit of you discipline yourself to do the work daily. I was talking about repetitive action earlier. When you're able to build that habit for yourself to do the work, even when results are not coming, give you that result, not the motivation. Because motivation eventually dies. What will stick with you is the discipline which you build upon doing that work, taking action.
Okay. And when do you know that you should take this repetitive action with regards to your entrepreneurship journey? Because, guide me if I'm wrong, but if you do repetitive action but it's not yielding results, should you still proceed, or you just throw in the towel and call it a day and go back to employment?
So earlier I was mentioning that doing. It's not about doing. You need to always go back to your drawing board. You need to, of course, when you are doing something and you're not getting results of it, you need to go back to where the process started from. Keep tracking of your performance. How am I performing? Am I improving? Where do I need adjustment on? So when you're able to really track your progress, putting tools in place to track the journey you're walking, it helps you learn more about where the mistakes are coming from, how best to improve upon it. So that tool, that system you set for yourself, if you set a goal for yourself to achieve this and you're not able to achieve it, are you really reviewing your performance? Are you really evaluating yourself? Are you really learning from what you're doing? Or you're just bringing and doing the work. For me to be consistent, I need to show up. It's not about you showing up, but in the process of you showing up, are you also, reviewing your performance?
And talking of reviewing your performance, entrepreneurs are most times overwhelmed because they're the CEO, they're the administration, they're the accountant, they're the HR. Everything is them, especially in the early stages. How would you advise entrepreneurs to balance their time with regards to all these things that they are doing, and for them to actually review their results? What are they doing? What is working? What is not working? Because we all know we only have 24 hours. If someone was a CEO in the morning, by midday they are administrator, in the evening they even cleaning the ones cleaning the office. How do they balance these tasks and still track their progress?
Putting the right system in place, structuring yourself, putting the right plan in place, allocating time to each of the tasks that you're doing. When you're able to do that, you get to know where you're growing on, where the mistakes are coming from, where to learn from, what to improve. So tracking your journey, tracking your progress through these tools. If you're setting a goal for yourself, the activities you're doing, whichever activities which is coupled together, you need to ensure you're setting and allocating time to each of them for you to be able to yield the result.
You've reminded me of our teacher who used to say that we have multiple tools, Excel, all these many apps that can help us to track our time. And maybe that is one of the tools, now that I think about it, that the entrepreneur can use so that they track how they're using their time, so that they're not using 80% of their time on administration work, when they should actually be focusing on work that is bringing value or money in the business. So I completely understand that. Also, you mentioned about having the right system and structures. How can an entrepreneur know this is the right system and structure? Of course, if it yields results, but before it gives in results, how do they know if this system and this structure is going to be productive? It's going to get me to the long-term vision that I've set for myself and my company.
If you're not doing anything, you can't learn from it, right? How will you learn? How will you gain experience? It's by doing. So when you are, even if you don't know in the beginning, just do the work. Do. Review yourself. Do, because you will be able to gather that experience from doing. And that is where the aspect of you reviewing your performance comes from. Understanding which works for me, which does not work for me. You learn from your own process, aside from learning from others. This is where I need to improve on. This is where I need to, do things better as a person. So when you are doing the work, even if you haven't tried before, just do. Along the way, you get to understand, because as you're doing, the experience comes, right? Then you can be able to really navigate, identify, and select which works for you and which does not.
Okay. And there is levels in entrepreneurship. I feel like we've spoken a lot about the entry level of entrepreneurship, where the entrepreneur is the HR, the finance manager, the tax man, the CEO, the cleaner, the administrator, and all those tasks. But now, when the business is now growing and the entrepreneur has started getting more clients, which makes them busy, early on we said that it's okay to delegate. The entrepreneur retains the ownership, but they delegate the responsibility. So now, for any entrepreneur who's listening to us and they're at that point where they're doing everything, although it's successful and they've started bringing in more people, but what is the ultimate solution to scale up a business so that it's bringing more money without involving a lot of time of the entrepreneur, the original vision bearer? Let me now call them vision bearer.
Earlier, I was saying entrepreneurship is not just about the money, right? It's more about the value which you're able to add. Your ability to create leaders. When you're able to create leaders, then you're expanding. You don't need to focus too much on things, lots of things. You can also scale up through partnership. You can also scale up through, when you are able to create more leaders in the process, then that can eventually move, because leaders take ownership, not just you leading or staying at the bare front. When you're able to create people better than you, then you've added the real value. You've added the impact. You're impacting people. And by that, things can scale and multiply. So that is a way one can also look at in terms of leveraging or multiplying one's or expanding one's business journey through partnership, creating leaders, building teams.
Now I want us to turn the lens to you, madam. And for you as an entrepreneur, what has been your biggest challenge that you felt like this really shook me? I almost gave up.
So there always be continuous challenges in different shapes and form on the journey. There always be continuous challenges. One of the big challenge for me in my journey, because it will always come. One is the space of guiding people, because people are wide, right? People are, there are different people in the world whereby you need to really understand them. It's not the art of you guiding them, but understanding them. That is one part. Then two, another challenge for me is the act of being so attached to something. That was challenging before, for me in the beginning. But at this point in time, I'm able to really develop that space of detachment. There are a lot of couple of challenges, also the fact of you giving ideas or giving people something and people misunderstanding you. That's a challenge for one to be able to really understand how best can I put this together for another person to really understand what I'm saying, to be in that same page, or something I struggle with. I'm still working on it. So there will be continuous challenges in different shapes and form. So it's just about me being able to keep learning, developing these areas for me to get better at it.
You've spoken about detachment, and I think it was Seneca or one of those historical writers that says, if you detach, then you're able to focus on the results. How have you been able to, you said you're still working on it, but so far, how have you been able to detach from these people and from the results? What's the secret? Because I can understand if you had this vision for creating value using this business, and then you're not able to, of course you feel some type of way, and that will beat down on your motivation. So how do you do detachment?
All right. So detachment is in different ways. I will bring it into different perspectives. Earlier, I did talked about value, right?
Yes.
Firstly, there's a saying from one of my mentors that say, you need to love people enough to let them go. You need to love people enough to let them go. Firstly, you need to ensure you trust, you need to trust people. Either your team, people you're working with, because when you're able to trust them, it's easy for you to allow them to take the responsibility. Not just you now taking control of everything, because you build them, you create leaders. That's one sense of detachment. Another sense of detachment is the space of focusing more on the value I'm adding on this person, not the result. Because when you are able to focus more on doing my best, that this person gets a lot of value and not what I want to get from the person. It's more about giving to others rather than me focusing on I want to get from this person. And even if it doesn't go the way you plan, you know that in one way or the other, someone has already taken from what you're able to give them. So you need to enjoy the process so much. You need to add, it's not about the end goal, because when you're able to focus on what you want to give rather than what you want to get, then the result takes care of itself.
Okay, what I'm hearing is that when you detach and you focus on the outcome and what you're giving, the value you're adding to the community, then you're able to detach. which gives you peace and you're able to pursue what you are pursuing or what you intended. That's what I had. And then there was the issue of people. As you're doing the business and delivering value to the community, you will always handle people of different cultures, religion, makeup, and all that. So, is it true that some people's bloods can never get together? Or is it just a concept of people trying to say that they won't agree or be in the same room with other people? So for you as a leader, as an entrepreneur, how do you handle when people that are in your team or in your organization and they say their blood is like water and paraffin, and they will not be in the same room, they will not agree on anything you tell them? How do you handle such conflicts?
Interesting. Firstly, it start with the leader itself, Ms. Marion. It start with the leader. The energy which you as a leader is able to give in that room, gives that space of if this person is going to be working together with this person or not. I believe people are one depending on either the culture, the background. It's just about our ability to understand them, their point of view. So I'm not a firm believer that people cannot work together. For me as a leader, what type of environment am I creating for the people around me, for my team, or for my organization? Because we are all working on that same journey or same vision or mission of impact. If we have that same focus, nothing should stop us to not give that room for we being able to work together. So it starts with you as a leader.
Okay. So you tell them to go back to the vision and the mission and to swallow their differences and let's just focus on the work, what has brought us to the table. All right. And how do you cope with changes? There's a lot of change in the recent past, regulatory wise, technological wise. AI is here. People are saying it's taking jobs. Other people are saying it's people using AI that are taking the jobs. So how do you cope with changes in the marketplace with regarding to entrepreneurship?
So I think most people are always afraid of change. Even myself, I'm always afraid of change, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to pursue the change. When something new comes, maybe in the system, in the marketplace, it depends, depending on which angle. If it's towards my business or maybe want to implement new things, firstly, I need to focus on what will this give to me? Because if the change is actually coming, it means it's good. We feel reluctant, when we have that new change. But when we don't focus more on, I haven't tried this, but let me try and, get this. Let me just enjoy the ride until where it goes. Then it becomes something that now impacts us rather than just focusing on, I haven't done this before. So technology, yes, you did talk about technology, you talked about AI, but it's just about we being able to be adaptable. When we are always allowing ourselves to adapt to things, that's how we grow at the end of the day. Not just, being stagnant, doing the same thing, and we are not expecting change. So I think that's just my 1 cent on it.
Let's still stay on the topic of technology. There's a lot of talk that the next round of billionaires will be people working with AI. And now my question for you as an entrepreneur, how do you move from an idea to a business? How do you move from an idea to a business? Because it's often said that the graveyard is the most richest because there's so many people lying there with a lot of ideas that were never executed. So, how would you advise someone to move from just having an idea? They've jolted the points, and I remember there's some people who are saying that overreading, over analyzing is part of the procrastination. You kept saying, no, no, let me read one more book. Let me take one more business course. Let me take one more degree. Let me take one like that, like that. How do
Hmm.
you push these people to move from just ideas and into action? How do you do that? Or how would you advise them to do? What would you advise them to do to move from idea to action?
So it's not about having a lot of knowledge about a particular field or whichever course which you want to go through or the journey which you want to start. It's just about you taking the risk regardless. It's not about you having all the resources in place. It's not about you seeing the whole staircase. It's more about getting into the work and do a step at a time. Because for us to get to the end of a staircase, we need to firstly push ourselves to take the first step. And how can we push ourselves to take the first step? Allowing the fear, because fear is just an illusion. Allowing that fear of, I haven't done this. What if it doesn't work? Rather than we bringing it from the angle of, what if I succeed? Let me just try. Let me do what I have with or let me do what I have with what I have now. It's not having all the right tools in place. It's not about having having all knowledge in place. But with what you have, what are you doing with it? Ability to do.
Now, let's say someone has an idea, they have decided to take action, to go for the do, but they are struggling with the capital to get into the entrepreneurship journey where their heart is. How would you advise them to handle the issue of capital, funding, and just money to get the business up and running?
One of a great mentor who I learned from is, it's not about you not having the money. It's all about you believing in yourself. If you're able to have that self-belief in yourself, solution eventually comes. There are different ways where one can always raise money if you believe in the idea which you have at hand. Most people want to use their money to either start a business, either do something. But even if you don't have the money, that idea can still become a reality. When we look at successful entrepreneurs today, it's not that they have the resources in place, but they are able to allow themselves to take risks. Because we have a lot of institutions around us. The resources the resources in the society which you are in, are you really leveraging on it, or you are afraid of, what if this doesn't turn out good? So it's not about you not having money. It's more about you believing in yourself, then following and taking that risk and leveraging on the society resources.
I'm noticing a pattern. Earlier on, when we were talking about entrepreneurship in the beginning, we said that for one to start, they must believe in themselves. And now we are saying for them to get capital, they still need to believe in themselves. What are the 3 things that someone can do to deepen their belief in themselves as an entrepreneur?
It starts with decision. Decide. If you are able to decide to act, even if you have belief in yourself, listen to yourself more as a person. When you're able to listen more, because it's only you that know the idea anyways, it's only you that is seeing where you're heading. Because when you put this, or when you state this to people, they either kill your idea So one is act by deciding, I'm going to walk the journey. 2, find the right mentor. And another thing to also solidify your belief system, towards your journey as an entrepreneur, is also the environment, I would say. I think I've mentioned environment a couple of times as well.
Yes. And talking of the environment, sometimes entrepreneurs they're deemed as crazy because sometimes they have a vision that only they can see and the rest of the world can't see, and they don't understand what these people are doing. And that includes family. Well, you said that earlier, you said that people should choose their environment wisely. They surround themselves with positive environment. They surround themselves with mentors. They listen to, and we're in the lucky age where you can have a mentor who doesn't know you, but so long as you listen to them on YouTube, Spotify, and everything else, so you're able to listen to them online. But what happens when your family doesn't believe in the idea that you're doing? And in the beginning of the entrepreneurship journey, of course, you're starting and you may not have a lot of cash flow coming into the business. In such a case where he doesn't believe in the idea because it hasn't been done, or at least in the family, it has never been done, but they want you to go the other traditional way of get a job, stop thinking of ideas, stop this. Just go get a good job. We already paid for education. How would you advise an entrepreneur to handle resistance from the family? And remember, it's family, so they can't throw away family, right?
Definitely, they can't.
Yeah.
So, from my point of view and experience, because when I started my entrepreneurship journey myself, it was not something my family was, go with me being a full entrepreneur. But, I'm this type of person who is always stubborn. I would say I'm stubborn when it comes to whatever I want to achieve for myself. Regardless of what you tell me, I stick to it. And firstly, relating to this particular question, what I would say is, you as a person, I was talking about direction at the end of the day, because yes, nothing is going to be forthcoming in the beginning. You may even lose your friends, which is okay. You can't lose family, right? They may do some certain behavior at you, this and that, but eventually you can't lose a family because of the path which you're walking. And that's just my belief system. You need to firstly, explain to them the road which you're walking. If they still tell you no, then you just need to focus on yourself. Focus on yourself. Because at the certain part in my journey, they were telling me, you need to do this, you need to get that. And I said, okay, I heard you. But what I am saying for myself is, this is my own path, and you wait and see, how I become successful on this path and how I impact life as well. So I think all still tie down to you. How strong do you believe in yourself? How strong is your vision? How strong does it really matter for you to see result for yourself on this part of the journey, even if the people around you are not supporting you? They say there's a saying that says you can't force a horse to take a water at the sea or at the in an ocean or anywhere. That's a Yoruba. That's an adage in my language. Anyways, you can't force an horse to drink a water, because what I'm doing is going to be benefiting them in the long term. But when I give up now, how sure am I that I'm going to be able to also, be a part of what I'm looking forward to create, to give to them in the long term? They don't know if I'm going to be successful, right? So let me do it anyways. Let me do it anyways and see where it leads me. Since they haven't tried it.
Now that you've covered very well, how do you handle the pain? The family won't leave you even if they have their own opinions, but how do you handle the pain of the friends that either you leave or they leave you because you've taken this entrepreneurship journey? If this vision is only visible to you at this point, you know you will succeed, or you have believed that you will succeed in the future. But before the future comes, your family is giving you resistance, and your friends have either left you or you've left them because your norms no longer align. How do you handle that pain of loss of friends or people you used to love and trust, but since you started entrepreneurship, they are not feeling you? You're kind of not feeling them, but you're feeling something. You're feeling pain, you're feeling bad. How do you handle that?
So in the beginning, I was always concerned that because I'm this type of person that always wants to show people the way. If I'm seeing the way it's working for me, or let's do this together. I believe it's going to work. Let's do this. But if it doesn't, if it's not something you don't want to do, it okay. I let go. Create my own environment. When I mean create my own environment, in the sense that I just don't. Yes, these are friends whom we've built a lot of relationship with in the past years, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to be talking to them. Definitely, I'm still talking with my friend, but not as the way I used to, right? Because yes, we are always in the same space every time, but whatever we are saying is not aligning towards the vision which I'm heading. So you either allow yourself to, it's good to work alone. If it's only you, create that space for yourself. But while you're creating that space for yourself, the environment, you have another environment which is more of a positive energy, whereby they are also on that vision you're working. I saw something last month on going for a mission of 90 days, creating an environment for yourself as an individual without you speaking to someone, just yourself and doing something. It's okay. It's okay to do that. You even hear yourself more, you see yourself more. Associating yourself with people who are more of your, who are more of a vision oriented like you on the path you're going. Because eventually, if it becomes something that turns out good for you, people will forget about, oh, this person. They focus on, oh, wow, eventually become successful on this path. Oh, she did mention this in the past. Wow, I didn't know this is going to eventually work out. So it's more about yourself, the path you're walking, knowing yourself, and creating that space for yourself regardless. Put yourself first, regardless.
And then they will start saying, I know her. We used to be in the same school. We used to be buddies. And now, Miss Naheemat is a successful entrepreneur. If you lost everything today, do you feel like you have the strength to build again from scratch? Or would you just abandon entrepreneurship if you lost everything today? Touch wood, you won't lose it. But if you did, would you be having the capacity to build again from scratch?
I think I've built myself in the space of continuous doing, not just focusing on managing things. I love, being in the space of continuous building. So even if I lost something today, let's say I lost everything today, why will I stop? It's not about that alone. I mentioned in the beginning that it's more about what am I giving. The journey of entrepreneurship definitely will always come on the space of failing, getting up, which is okay. So when I lose something today, I lose everything today. while I'm walking that journey, have I created that space of my continuity? Because I'm not only relenting on limiting myself. It's just more about creating value and impacting people. So if I'm passionate about impacting people, why would I focus on limiting myself to a certain space on what I've built, rather than the sense of continuity?
And as we said earlier, young business has a lot of time constraints because you're everything. You're the CEO, you're the cleaner, you're the taxman, you're the HR, and everything. How would you advise someone who has just started? You mentioned earlier that when you decided to go into entrepreneurship full time, your family was not feeling that vibe. So how would you advise someone who has just taken the big leap of faith into the entrepreneurship journey? What should they do to balance their time for their business, family, personal things? How do they balance time? Or is there just no balance? They should accept imbalance and they will course correct as they go forward.
So how to balance their time? Earlier you did mention some tools which one can use, right? And there's a lot of tools which one can use in finding a balance on these activities, be it business activities, personal activity, family activities. There are a lot of time management tool that one can use in that space. So when we are talking about balance, it's okay. It's not necessary, because entrepreneurship is not just about building that space of perfection. I don't think there is perfection. I don't think there is something called perfection. We are not even created, when we look at our hands, they are not equal, right? They are not. Even our lips, they are not equal. So it's just about we getting things done, using what we have, getting things done, and learning and improving as we go by, as we goes by doing the process itself. So one thing I would say is focus on yourself, learn as you are going towards that journey, understand the process, understand yourself, believe in yourself, and of course always improve yourself using these tools in finding that balance.
But really, I know I had, I think Alex Homozi saying that in the beginning of business, forget about balance. Is it true for you in your entrepreneurship journey that there won't be balance? You just decide, I'm gonna work this thing until it gives me something back. Does that hold true for you as an entrepreneur?
Yes, in the beginning, there's nothing like balance. Balance when you're talking about work-life balance. Balancing your work, balancing family, balancing other activities. It's more about the process. It's more about the process, as I've said earlier. So as you keep doing, because you can only learn in the process on how best you can be able to find this balance. So your focus should not be more on how can I balance this, but it's more about what have I really learned as I am working on building upon myself. Because it's along the way you get to understand how best you can be able to find your balance in all these areas.
And now, as you go up in the ladder of entrepreneurship, you are a startup, you've started scaling like that. Do your mentors change, or do you remain with the same mentors?
It's keep changing, Miss Marion. It's keep changing, because I was saying earlier that you learn along the way, right? Even if you are following a single way, as you climb the ladder, you get to understand certain things. There's a lot of things which you get to understand and which you get to improve on. Not changing the old method totally, but it's more about improving on those methods. The ability to improve. Because when you are observant enough towards as you are climbing that ladder, it helps you to get things done better. Rather than doing more, you get to eventually do less to get more results. based on the improvements which you've done along the way, or you're doing along the way.
I like that. I've remembered doing less to get more. You reminded me, there was a guy, I forget his name, but he said when you're planning your activities, do the 20% of the top 20% of what you're supposed to do. I know there's the general Pareto principle, which says do 20% of what will give you 80%. Then another thought leader, I forget his name, but he came and told us, do 20% of the 20% and you'll be able to get more results. So I completely understand when you say do less but get more. And now for any aspiring entrepreneur that is listening to us, or any existing entrepreneur that's listening, what are the trends or opportunities they should be on the lookout in the market right now?
All right, there's a lot of opportunities in entrepreneurship for which they could look out for. Because we keep talking about technology keep advancing, it's not necessary for us to stick to the way of doing our business in a traditional way. There are a lot of e-commerce businesses when we are talking about entrepreneurship. And of course, be it in the space of building teams, be it in the space of creating mentors, be it in the space of coaching, mentorship. So there is different aspects of entrepreneurship. Which one can definitely get into.
So you're saying that they focus on e-commerce opportunities as well as maybe what makes their heart beat. All right. What would be your closing remarks for someone who's about to get into entrepreneurship? What are the 3 things that they should consider doing? Someone who has many ideas, they've learned so many things, they have a pile of books from here to God knows where, but they still haven't taken the leap, although they have studied a lot. What would your advice be for such a person?
So firstly, my advice would be on your ability to believe in yourself first. Start, when you're able to, because yes, you may have that belief, that is why you're having that pile of knowledge, learning to really study this aspect very well. But also self-belief starts with, I will do it anyways, and improve along the way. So have that self-belief in yourself to be able to do things. Secondly, act. Don't just have a lot of vision up here. Start with what you have and keep learning by building upon it. So those are going to be my 3 advice to any entrepreneurs who are about to start, still piling ideas up, still putting things in place, because the right time will never come. You need to create the right time now by deciding, by choosing, and by acting.
Very good. Those 3 points are for a person an entrepreneur in the making, or rather who's starting, one who has the idea but hasn't implemented. But now let's speak to the entrepreneur who has started, but their curve didn't go up, it's on a decline. They are feeling demotivated. They are wondering even why they started this. It's not working. They have tried everything they know. What would you advise an entrepreneur? Let me say in quotes, a failing entrepreneur. What would be the 3 points that you would advise them to do or take?
All right. So for an entrepreneur who is still in the process of figuring out their path, is to always firstly review their activities. They review their activities. What am I doing? Because that is where the improvement actually comes from. That is where you get better, when you're able to go back to your drawing board and of course evaluate yourself. So when you're able to do that, then you need to ensure you are always consistent Now that you're able to identify where you need improvement on, consistent action and continuous learning from mentors, improving yourself, those are the 3 points I will give to entrepreneurs who are still in the process of, developing themselves or trying to figure out things in identifying their growth.
Right. I want us to do rapid fire questions. Thank you very much. And I've taken notes of what you've said. For the new ones, the overall message is, as much as you read, as much as you have many mentors, you actually have to take action. Do the do. Make sure you take care of your environment. That means the people and the places you put yourself into. We're in the beautiful age of technology, so you can still have mentors that don't really know you, but you can still follow them. And also, I've taken home the note of self-belief. It's very important for entrepreneurs to actually believe in themselves, because entrepreneurship, to some level, it's betting on yourself, because you're the only one that can see the vision. So I completely understand. Those are my best take homes for this. And of course, I have a lot of points that I've written down about entrepreneurship not being a game of luck. Rather, it's having vision, applying consistent action. You have to be resilient, even in the times that people will think you're suffering. But so long as you're passionate about what you're going for the vision, for the impact, for the value add that you're putting in the community, that means the suffering is, can I call it sweet pain? Because either way, if you don't follow the way I think about it, if you don't follow your goal or your vision, you will suffer. If you follow it, you will suffer in doing the act. So just choose like a pain that you can actually work with and maintain. I completely understand that. I'm also looking at my notes. I was taking a bit of notes as you were talking. There was also the issue of patience. Patience from the time you start to the time you get actual results. And I feel like, for me, I've started several businesses, and some businesses I just abandoned them. Not because they did not bring value or money to me, but that pain of consistency is what I lacked. Now, in hindsight, that's what I lacked. I had a business where I was bringing some textile fabrics from India into my country. So that process is very long, because you need to go to customs, get cleared and all that. But the consistency of keeping to doing that all the time, for me, that time it was a side business. I was passionate about the products I was bringing in, because they were very comfortable, very soft to the skin. I literally handpicked that fabric and even the things that were going with it. But I faced challenges. I couldn't source consistently. Sometimes I was low on capital. And sometimes, now that you've spoken about self-belief, the business was happening, but I think I didn't believe in myself enough to actually think I can do intercontinental business, and I was doing it alone. So at what point do entrepreneurs need to partner with other people for the sake of their business? I know we spoke in the beginning when we spoke about ownership, delegation of duties, building a team. What point do entrepreneurs need to bring in more people in the business, or how can they build a support system? I believe I failed in that business because I didn't have a support system. It was just me, solo lady mission. I'm bringing in the products, I'm putting them online, I'm selling them. I would even package. I'd be the one packaging for the rider to come and pick and send to the customers. So what's a kind of support system would you advise entrepreneurs that are going solo to build around themselves so that they can keep the fire burning?
So there are lots of support systems which one can use. As I've mentioned earlier, it starts with, earlier you were talking about the stress which you encounter in this business, right? Doing the whole lot of things, but that ability of not being consistent with it, because it's a lot of work. It's a whole lot of work. So another way which one can also use is the space of, I believe, e-commerce. E-commerce, because that aspect of dedication is something that has to be there. You need to ensure you are someone, because how can you really grow if you are talking about partnership? It allows you to learn from other people's point of view, rather than you just focusing on you doing it. Earlier you talked about you're the only one doing the sourcing, you're the only one, you'd like to do this for yourself, but you also need to learn from different people's point of view, because we cannot see through the same lens. Your ability to allow people to learn, your ability to learn from other people's point of view and idea, it's something that contributes to the growth of a business. So one thing which I will add to what you've mentioned, that I will repeat again, is having that space of allowing people to take control of the business, partnering with others, not just you taking that ownership alone.
I think, yeah, that's where I failed. I did partner with others. I had the vision, the long-term vision of bringing different textiles into Africa, or even developing them here. But because I was alone, my fire fizzled out. I started with passion. So when I was speaking earlier about passion and fizzling out, I was talking about myself. So I am still interested, but I feel like that business made me so tired. I feel like I have scars of it. Now I don't want to do it anymore. But I know there are opportunities still available in the market, because people are still looking for soft fabric that feel nice to the skin. But let's see if I will be able to go back. But my main takeaway, if I was to do it again, should I choose to do it again in the future? One, I will look to partner with different parties that can help me. For example, instead of doing the entire clearance on myself, even though I have the knowledge, I can partner with someone or an organization that can help me with clearing. Also, for running my e-commerce shop, I was the one running the entire shop, uploading the products, packaging when I get an order, processing the customer orders. So in such a case, I'd probably look to partner with another e-commerce platform where we can be able to, I can leverage on them and they can also leverage on me. So partnership is key. If I was to do that business again, I would look for better partnerships instead of running solo. I'd also believe in myself more. I think that time was so early in my entrepreneurship journey. I believed in the business, but I don't think I believed in myself to do the business. Because every time I'd feel like this is too much, this is too much. And now I realize that I should have gotten a mentor, someone who has been able to bring in textiles into the country or has been in the textile business for a while. Such a person would have told me, don't do this solo, partner with this. These are the best people in this and this. But I also didn't have a mentor. But I also did not know when you don't know what you don't know, I didn't know the need of having a mentor just for a business, right? I thought it was just a business, but maybe I would have created a legacy. Also, I noticed that when I started doing the business, now my time was no longer available for my friends so that we can just go and hang out. So I completely lost my work-life balance, and maybe that's part of the scar that happened because I no longer had that. But I didn't have the wisdom to understand that when you're doing business, especially in the early stages, just forget about work-life balance. Then as the business scales up, you can now expect to get the work-life balance better. I also now, as I look back, I am seeing there's an opportunity. I could have brought or hired some people to come on board with me so that like employees, or I can invite them as partner shareholders in the business, that would have helped me to delegate some of the duties so that not everything is falling on me. At that time, because everything was falling on me, if I'm too tired, if I'm unwell, then nothing moves. The needle doesn't move. That's the other lesson that I've taken. Luckily for me, my family wasn't resistant on me doing that, but I was doing that as a side business. I'm not sure if I had done it full time, they would have accepted it. I was lucky for that, but some of my friends noticed I was no longer available to hang out. And some, of course, they give you attitude. They're like, oh, you're too busy for us. You're like, no, I'm trying to make extra money. And then they kind of, what do you call it? They ostracize you. They remove you from the network. Sometimes they don't add you to the groups or the trips they're taking. They're like, you're never available. So I felt the loss, but it was a price I was willing to pay for the business that I was growing. The other thing that I've noticed that you've said is do it anyway. I feel like the do it anyway is usually the hard part, because before I started that business, I had really like scouted the market. I went to scout South Africa, I went to scout India, I went to scout Thailand. I really scouted the market. Now, after that, like several countries, I was like, wait, I've been scouting the market for 2 years. Why am I not making the decision?
Doing the work.
Yes. So I know some people will read books from here to the roof. But for me, it was just doing more and more research. I kept analyzing, looking at the fabrics, what percentage, if you mix this and this, how does it come? I became an expert, but I never took the decision until now, after 2 years of research. That's when I finally took the step. But now, if I knew, I would have just consulted or paid an expert who could have told me this information, and I would have saved myself some 2 years.
Mm.
Would also have asked for mentorship from someone who's done similar businesses, and they would have told me these are the best places to work with, these are the best people in this and this, to import, to export, these are the best courier people to deliver to customers. Because you see, I'm bringing in bulk, breaking it down, then sending individual pieces to customers. Again, I did not know. I could even have had partners in the packaging material. Again, I did not know, but now I know. Next time, I will do better, to believe in myself, and I'll also not be afraid to learn, then relearn. Because the market is still there, the business is still viable. I just need to redo it and do it better. Also, I also used to wonder why some people are so lucky. Because there's a lady I know who's also in the textile business, but I know her, like I see in the newspapers, in the magazines, but I've never really. And sometimes when I'm she lives in the next estate from where I live, so I know she lives there, but I've never spoken to her. Sometimes I see her in restaurants. But now, in hindsight, I should have approached her and asked her like to mentor me, even though it's at a price, because she's been able to build herself a good life, drives premium, luxurious cars, just on this business. So you can imagine how much money I left on the table just because I didn't know how to do it right. I just kept researching on one area. I forgot that for an entrepreneur, you need to be all round. You need to have a good environment where you're surrounded by people who are positive. And good environment doesn't mean always being solo. It means just having people who are thriving in that industry and that market. Then do it anyway. All right, those are the main takeaways from this session. Miss Naheemat, I'd like to ask you some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Coffee or tea?
Tea.
Netflix or YouTube?
Netflix.
Notebook or digital notes?
Notebook.
Which application can't you live without?
Canva.
What's your favorite book?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Favorite movie?
Still thinking.
Cats or dogs?
None.
0. Okay, if you had a superpower, what would it be?
Ability to read mind and help people.
One word that can describe the former or younger version of you.
Impatient.
Oh, so now you're more patient.
Yes, I am.
What is your biggest business fear?
My biggest business fear. This is quite an interesting one. I'm trying to think about it.
Okay, as you're thinking about that, how many hours do you sleep?
6 to 7 hours.
What's the one habit that changed your life?
Meditation.
What's your favorite food?
Still hard to think about it.
No. Favorite food?
I don't think I have a favorite food, but okay, let me just say the favorite food is, I think rice is common here. Let's say rice. Let's have salted rice. Yes.
Okay. Would your team describe you as friendly or strict?
Both.
Would you rather spend or save?
Both.
No, choose one.
Save.
Okay. Beach holiday or mountain adventure?
Mountain.
What's your hidden talent?
I think ability to be able to speak with people and give advice.
Okay. Work from home or work from office?
I work from home, definitely.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone, of course.
Country life or city life?
Both.
Books or podcasts?
Both.
Email or phone call?
Phone call.
Suits or sneakers?
Both.
Burgers or pizza?
Pizza.
Okay. Finally, what is the legacy that you want to leave with your business as an entrepreneur?
So the legacy which I want to leave is the ability to be able to impact people and create leaders without me being there.
Thank you, Naheemat, for your valuable time. I believe the audience has learned a lot from you, and I've also learned a lot. See you on the other side.
Thank you.
Goodbye. Welcome.